Okay, so Derwin James suspended for 1 game. This is obviously a massive decision made by the NFL, Runyon, and plenty of other ex-players, including Jordy Nelson, I believe, who is now a part of the thing. Welcome back, Jordy.
And baby Jordo.
Jordo.
He said Jordo actually rode a horse to the meeting.
He did.
Yeah,
That's cool.
He's right. Weren't you the one? You were the one who told me that, AJ, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I've ridden a horse that one of Jordy's horses where he was leading it around for me because I'm not too confident on horses.
So he was walking horse while he was showing horse?
Whoa.
I got a picture of it somewhere. I'll find it. Yeah, when I was out there visiting, he's walking. I'm okay with it.
You're an adult?
I respect the power and the majestic beauty of horses, so I will let Jordy do that any day.
I agree. That's why you got to connect with that thing like you're an avatar, pal. Okay, you gotta let that.
I didn't have it that day. That guy was walking sideways up to the barn and knocking my whole body against the barn. So I needed Jordy's help.
It was talking shit. It was just talking shit. He wanted to see
he could feel it. He felt my heart rate was not right. Like, this guy should not be on me.
Yeah,
so,
those horses are hey, they talk about those horses in like a certain.
Yeah, they can feel weather coming.
Everything. Yeah. If you can feel it too,
you can chase it.
But that horse was talking shit to you. Anyways, Jordy's a part of that group now. Happy to see a lot more ex-players get involved with the NFL. That's always a good thing anytime we do that. Now with Runyon, with the story around Runyon and how he played and everything like that, him being the one in charge of suspensions and then suspending a player, it's always going to be a huge talking point. It's always going to be like, oh, so now Runyon wants to ruin football, or we're not playing football anymore? What is the entirety of it? And then you see the hit that Derwin is getting suspended for against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Obviously, it appears as if he tackled as if this was football 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He clearly hits him with helmet in jaw, over middle of field, which middle of field hits is one of the main focus. He does. He makes contact. There's clear contact, I guess, which is one of their things. And then you add in the fact that Travis Kelce hasn't had his best start. And he's a safety.
Right.
And he's suspended for that. He's suspended for that. You start to wonder to yourself, like, what is going on?
It's interesting.
So we reached out, obviously, little journalistic standards here, and said, is there any way we can maybe get a little bit more information on this entire thing? Because as you start thinking about it all, it's hard not to be like,
they don't want him to play against the Chiefs.
They want Kelce to do well for his girlfriend.
Are they girlfriend? Engaged? Married?
Or
Don't
even say it.
do that.
It's the 27th.
Don't do that.
The date changed because it leaked.
It was a school project. That's not even real.
Good Lord.
And also, I'm hearing he's open.
I'm nervous for tomorrow.
I'm hearing he is open. That's what I'm hearing.
On the football field?
Yeah, on the football field. Yes, I'm hearing he's open. Per source,
Says
the Chargers and James were among the teams and players that received a warning letter from Jon Runyon prior to the season that any future player safety violations would result in his suspension. James and other similar players who had been disciplined for 1 or more player safety fouls over the last 2 seasons received this letter. While any player can face suspension for a first-time violation, these players are put under a greater scrutiny when considering a suspension due to their previous infractions. So this is, hey, we've talked about this. Hey, we've talked about this. Now, I don't like the carryover from one season to the next. I guess they're saying like habitual offenders. Habitual offenders fall into this particular case, but it is very apparent what the NFL is trying to get out of the league, keep out of the league. And it's like, hey, we see anything from you this season, we won't let you know, you're gone. We don't care if you're one of the best players, obviously not on your team, but in the entire NFL. People know you, you're hard hitting, you play great football, you respect the game, you appreciate the game, you commit yourself to the game, your life to the game and to the team. But if you happen to do the shit that we've been talking about, suspended for a game. Now it's against the Chiefs. That's a massive, massive game for it to take place, AJ.
Yeah, it is, and it's a big deal. I mean, if you're coaching the Chargers and you're losing Derwin James, like you would be, I'd be very frustrated. Like, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand he did kind of make contact with the bottom of his jaw or whatever, but these aren't really the hits that they're trying to take out of the NFL. I feel like we're talking like submarine head down, crown of the helmet. We don't want anymore.
I think it's the action of him doing this number. I think that is what they're talking about.
It was a heck of a tackle, heck of a job getting him down for real.
Yeah,
it really was.
And he's going to say, I was trying to get my left shoulder because he cuts across, so I'm just trying to get more. He's bigger than me too. Pat Freiermuth is a tight end.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. And then as Jim Harbaugh said, they're trying to take, this is what Jim Harbaugh said.
Exactly what you would want somebody, that what the league is trying to get to, which is take the head out of the game, but you can never really take the head out of the game because it's in between the two shoulders.
You see. You see.
Of course.
It's true.
And I've never seen a hit more prevalent to what he was saying there than he was trying to, but his head, you see, just so happens to be on the other side of that shoulder.
Exactly.
And then guess where it is? It's on the inside of the other shoulder.
The other
right.
one. Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for them to hit with two shoulders, you see, because there's something right in the middle there. Nonetheless, they lose one of their stars going into a massive AFC West matchup. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, senior insider for the NFL at ESPN, and then maybe he can elaborate a little bit more on the intricacies of this and how many players are in a similar player group where it's like, hey, if you do any of the stuff we've talked about in the past, you're going to be suspended a game. That's a big deal.
As a defender, you find anything wrong with that here or not?
Don't ask AJ.
I'm probably the wrong guy to ask here, Chef. Yeah, I thought it was a great tackle. I understand he made contact with his head, but I feel like intent needs to be taken into consideration at some time.
The tough play. I mean, I don't know. That's not my area of expertise, but he's going to hit the guy. Like, I don't know how I guess you lead with your shoulder more. He's leading with his head a little bit. I mean.
Yeah, but
see it?
AJ thinks the thing wrong with that tackle is why'd the shoulder even get in the way there?
Right.
He had a chance. That's how AJ thinks. And that's how
I think Derwin's like at an angle falling down too. That's much different than if you're coming downhill and you take not a cheap shot, but you have somebody that cannot protect themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's different.
I think
that's a great point. That's a great point. Like how do you make sure he's coming in to hit him right here as opposed to right here?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've never made a tackle, so I don't know. But in real time and real speed, I can't imagine that that's a simple thing to do.
You never played tackle football growing up?
Pat, my mom would never let me. I always wanted to.
Where you hurt people?
You'd be in the window, like Schefter in the window, watch people play tackle football outside. And
I always wanted to, and my mom and dad wouldn't let me. They just wouldn't let me.
You've never tackled a person ever in your life? Never? You've covered football?
I've tackled people, Pat. Yes, I've done that. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Can we get you in full pads this offseason?
Absolutely.
Please.
That's what it takes. I'm sure I'll incur some type of significant injury, but I am willing to do that for the sake of laughing at myself and have fun. Yes.
No, you're going to injure somebody else. Because we saw you run that 40. You can run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can stride. You can move.
Yeah. The Lambeau leap.
Lambeau leap, you got hops. So you combine the run with the leap, and then you just go Rydell to Adam's apple. That's what you're kind of looking for. And then we'll have you have a tackle on tape.
Yeah, easy.
Need you to have that. But back to your point about with Derwin James and the whole thing, that seems like a pretty standard tackle. Like maybe they'll be able to call 15 because there is helmet-to-helmet contact. So for them to get suspended for that, obviously a lot of people are very confused. Now.
Well, I also would say if he had no history, if there were no history with that player, I don't think he would have been suspended for that hit.
Yeah, that's what my source said, too. And it sounds like we have maybe a similar source that gave you more information than me, though.
What?
You hear that 15 players I got.
Yeah, it's a ton.
I got similar players. So there's 14 others. Or is it 15 plus Derwin? Is it Derwin plus 15?
I was told there were roughly 15 players. I don't know whether that's 18 or 14 or 17, but roughly 15 players.
How many? How was the text leading up to it? How long was the message? Because we can start. Are they trying to round down? Or are they trying to round up? Are they trying to sell?
The funny thing about it is, like right before the opener, I remember talking to a coach, and the coach is like, "Hey, what do you know about this letter?" I'm like, "What letter?" And he's like, "Yeah, the league sent out letters to some teams here and players." And so that was one of my sources. And I'm like, so I started making some calls. Okay, what do we know about this thing? And was able to come up with the fact that a bunch of players, roughly 15, got warned. Players, I think you can look at any player that has had any sort of history with controversial hits. And we all know some of the guys that have been involved in them. Like, I called around to see, like, Mike Evans had been involved in fighting. I thought he might have gotten notice, but he hadn't. So that was a player who wasn't on the list, despite the fact that there have been numerous run-ins with Marshawn Lattimore. How many times have those two guys been at it on the sidelines? It's always great theater. But he was not notified by the league, despite the fact that there have been some instances of
so you can find out what players are on the league. Let's just send 1,000 asks.
Look up who all got fined last year for head-to-head contact. That would narrow it down a bit.
Oh, yeah, because those are probably
I included some names in the story of guys like I guarantee you Kareem Jackson got warned.
Sure.
I guarantee he got warned.
Okay.
He would be one that got warned because of his history. Any player with a history like that, I'm sure was notified and is included in that group. of roughly 15 players.
I wonder how
that
many
were
safeties,
warned.
linebackers. I'll be excited to see.
Yeah, probably more safeties, right?
Yeah, but then is there D linemen? Yeah, I would assume more safeties because of those types of plays right
Yeah.
there and everything like that. But what if
Any
it's like-
running backs for lowering their head? Is there any running backs on that list you think for lowering their head?
That's all time.
I do not know that. I do not know. I tried to get the list. I didn't. I was not able to get the full list.
Oh, maybe we'll try.
You'll get it.
Yeah.
Maybe your sources are better than mine.
Yeah, source. They would have multiple. I just got my source says it's not about Jordan Love. This is back to the Derwin James suspension. Breaking. Pat Fryermuth was on the appeal call and said he didn't think it was a dirty hit.
Wow.
Well, Muse the dog.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Beat you, Shefty.
Oh, not a golden shower.
By the way, it didn't do very much good, did it?
Okay. All right. Sorry you didn't break the news, Chef. But I do.
No, Pat.
Fryermuth.
If the appeal had been overturned, and the reason it had been overturned was because Pat Fryermuth got on there and defended, that would have been a great story. But
instead,
again, here's the hit.
All right.
Here's the hit. And according to your sources, Pat Fryermuth came to Derwin James' defense, but obviously the NFL didn't buy that, and so he remained suspended for 1 game. It's a good little note. I applaud you.
Thank you.
Fryermuth
Add the little
is
nugget to your stories when you're writing.
Yeah,
Okay,
updated.
let's give proper credit, shall we?